Hey there, I'm Dan Brisebois, and this is the Farmer Spreadsheet Academy.
Let's talk about line breaks in spreadsheet cells. What is a line break? A line break is basically when you change from one line to the other, as in this address, Dan Brisebois, change line, Tournesol, change line, the address, change line, and so forth. This is pretty easy to do in a text editor. You just have to push enter and you change lines. Sometimes you want to do this in a spreadsheet cell, and there it's not as simple as just pressing enter. Let's look at some of your options. Here's some information you want to put together in a cell as an address. This is what you're looking for, an address written in the standard format. Now there is a simple way to use line breaks. I can start by writing my name, Dan Brisebois, and then I push Alt and enter, and that creates a line break. And then Tournesol, Alt, enter, and it creates a line break, and so forth. Alt, enter, Alt, enter, Alt, enter. Then when I push a final enter, I exit the cell. You can see it's formatted with a number of line breaks. Let's try to use that with a formula. So here we have A5, Dan Brisebois, and then Alt, enter for a line break. And on the new line, ampersand to join text, and B5, Tournesol. To learn how to use the ampersand to join text, you can go to spreadsheet tip number 16. So let's see if that works right here. Equals A5, Alt, enter to change lines, ampersand, B5, enter. And unfortunately, this doesn't work. It puts everything on the same line. The formula ignored our line break. But we have another option. Let's meet the char function. The char function, also called the character function, looks up a specific character out of the Unicode list. I've put a link here to the Wikipedia page with a bunch of Unicode characters so you can see different options. So what that looks like, equals CHAR, open parentheses, 65, close parentheses, enter. Character 65 is the letter A. We can similarly char 66. This is the letter B. And you can deduce that 67 onwards would be C, D, E, and so forth. Equals char 48 is the number 0, and equals char 49. You guessed it, it's the number 1. And then so char 50 and upwards would be 2, 3, and so forth. And then you could use char 49 and char 48 together to give you 10. Now there's other characters you might want to refer to, such as char 34. This is the quotation mark symbol. This is very useful in using text when you're referring to quotation marks instead of just using quotation marks to define text. And we'll look at this in some future spreadsheet. And last on this list for today is char, open parentheses, 10, close parentheses. And that creates a line break. It might not look like much, but it's very useful. Here's this formula in action. So A5, ampersand to join text, char 10, ampersand to join text, B5, ampersand, char 10 for line break, ampersand, C5, and so forth. There's one little thing I've added into this formula, which is the D5, ampersand, quotation mark, comma, space, quotation mark, ampersand, F5. This adds some text between both D5 and F5 cells. To see that in action, I can do Control C to copy, or Command C if I'm using a Mac. And then to paste, I would do equals, Control V, or Command V on a Mac, enter. And here it shows me Les Cèdres, D5, and then comma, space, QC from F5. So let's see that big formula in action. Copy this, equals, paste it, enter, and we have our address. So char 10 lets us add line breaks into an actual cell. Let's see how we might use this on our farm. Here is some sample data that could be exported out of a Shopify store. There are some columns, the date the order was placed, the order number, the type of product in the order, how we'll ship that order, and then all the information related to the address, the fulfillment status of the order, whether it's paid or not, and then the net value of that order. You might be able to print an address label directly from your online store, but in some cases, you might also want to print it from a spreadsheet. Let's add a formula to add the formatted address into this spreadsheet. So equals E2, ampersand to join text, char 10 to do a line break, ampersand F2, ampersand char 10 for a line break, ampersand G2, ampersand char for a line break, ampersand H2, ampersand. And here you want to add some text because we'll put the city and state on the same line. Open quotation marks, comma is the text we want, space is more text we want, close quotation marks, ampersand J2, ampersand char 10 for a line break, ampersand I2, enter. We have our formatted address. Drag the formula down, and the address is applied to all the rows. Now, we just have to copy this, paste it on our label, and then print away, peel the label, slap it onto an order, and ship it to your end customer.
And that was line breaks in spreadsheet cells. If you want to get weekly farmer spreadsheet tips, then subscribe to this channel. See you next week.